We have a storage of healthy fat in our body called brown fat, which is literally brown under the microscope because it's rich with mitochondria. It's not the blubbery fat that people generally want to have less of. It's a deep tissue fat. It's really healthy. You tend to lose it over time unless you do cold exposure. Deliberate cold exposure is one way to enrich the amount of brown fat. You get a stronger furnace. And there's some wonderful science on this published recently in Cell Reports Medicine by Susanna Soberg. It's really amazing work. What they showed is that 11 minutes a week divided up into a couple sessions of 2 to 3 minutes of deliberate cold exposure increases the density of brown fat in adults and allows them to feel more comfortable in cold temperatures when they're just walking around. But also when they put themselves into this deliberate cold, and I'll talk about how cold in a moment, that then they achieve much bigger increases in core resting metabolism, improvements in blood lipid and insulin management profiles. And there's some other positive effects like improved mental resilience. So a lot of positive effects. So a lot of people say, okay, do I need to get into an ice bath? No, you need to get uncomfortably cold for 11 minutes a week. That could be done with a cold shower. That could be done by getting into an ice bath. That could be done by getting into the ocean. That could be done by getting into a lake. That could be, it is not important how you get cold. How cold depends. And people always say, I want to give me a number. Well, what's uncomfortable to you is not going to be uncomfortable to me and vice versa. So uncomfortably cold. And then the key thing is that it needs to be safe. You're going to try and get into chilly water that you want to get out, but you can calm yourself and stay in for that period of 2 to 3 minutes. There's one study that was done having people submerge themselves in water of about 60 degrees, which is not particularly cold, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, but they did it for 45 minutes. So it could also be being in kind of, when you get into a pool and it's not quite warm enough. It could be that, but you stay in longer. But for 11 minutes, it should be pretty uncomfortable. Like you want to get out. So I think you get that 11 minutes per week, and that sets you up for this effect. And it should be divided across multiple sessions, but it could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you have 4 days off. It could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It doesn't really matter. Now, there are other reasons to do cold exposure. What happens when you get into cold? A couple things. You vasoconstrict, and there's a rebound vasodilation. So you're getting better perfusion and blood flow. Biggest effect is a big increase, 2.5x increase in dopamine that lasts for several hours. It's a significant increase. You feel mentally clear. You feel alert. It increases metabolism for the reasons we discussed before. And then there's the process of getting into this cold water when you didn't want to. And that is overriding limbic friction. That's that top-down control. So you build resilience. There are other effects too. For instance, if you want to enhance fat loss and lipolysis, it does seem like activating shiver is key, because when you shiver, the muscles release a molecule called succinate. Succinate then goes and activates the brown fat. So you get a further increase in metabolism. One of the best things you can do is get into the cold source, whatever it happens to be. If you don't shiver while you're in there, get out, but don't dry off and just stand there. You'll start to shiver pretty quickly as it starts to evaporate off.